Hello everyone. Wanted to give you an update. Actually, this next 2 weeks, we're actually going to combine week 3 and 4. So what you're going to get info is going to take us through not only this week, but through the 4th of July holiday, and then we'll be ready to wrap up. So this is a really big part of the course. We're going to talk specifically about note taking. So when you go into the courseworks, you're going to find weeks 3 and 4 actually together, and you're going to go through about 6 different documents, and you're just going to work down the list. The very first one you're going to come across is the curve of forgetting. And the curve of forgetting is it's simple science based on how we learn. Talking about the fact that once you've been in, let's just say for example, you've been in history class for 50 minutes on Monday, well, if you don't do anything, you literally just go home, you go on, you don't read your notes, you don't go back over them, you just simply walk into class, you sit down for 50 minutes, and then you leave. By the end of a 24-hour period, you've lost over half of that information that you took in. But if you would simply spend 10 minutes at any point during that time period, you could actually retain up to 90% or more of that information. And then you would follow that over the next 3-day period, follow that over a week, and again, just simply 5 to 10 minutes of reviewing on a steady basis will allow you to retain that information at a 90+% rate. And again, that curve just shows you, really illustrates how that basically if you don't do any regurgitating of your notes, if you're not going back over them, if you're not reviewing them in a consistent manner, that you're going to lose the vast majority of that information. So that's just a good lead in to the importance of taking notes. The next thing you're going to see is the 10 steps for note taking, and this is going to introduce you to the Cornell Notes system, which is a system I want to talk about. But the most important part is it's about taking notes and recording notes, and you'll see that in that handout. Now, the next thing you'll do is you'll see a short video talking about Cornell Notes. Again, it's a very systematic approach. It's a very effective approach. Now, it is a system. It takes a while to get used to it. So what I'm doing right now is introducing you to the idea. But again, the overarching theme is that you're taking notes. That you're taking notes in a way that is going to make sense to you, that you're going to be able to go back through, review those notes, study, make them an effective study tool for you as you go through whatever class it may be. So you're going to look at that. You'll see the Cornell note-taking diagram, which explains how you would set that up, and that's what I'm going to want you to do, is basically create that diagram for yourself on a piece of paper. There are places where you can find the Cornell notes in a format that you can use and copy, those sorts of things. But the big thing is, again, recording the notes, having a space for you to create questions, and then having space at the bottom of that page for you to write a summary. And again, as you go through, you'll see how all three of those elements work together. But again, the most important piece is to make sure that you're taking notes, you're recording them in a way that makes sense to you, that will allow you to develop questions, and doing those two things will allow you, as you get more comfortable with the process, to begin to write summaries, so that at the end of the day you look at your notes for any given class period as simply that. You should be able to go back in and summarize what was done. So for example, if I were taking notes in a history class in a couple of weeks, or even a couple of days have gone by, and you were to come up to me and ask me, hey, what did we cover in class today? Basically being able to summarize, I should be able to hand you this paper based on my notes and the questions that I've come up with based on those notes. And I should be able to write a brief summary, just kind of a short snapshot. Hey, this is what we were talking about today in class. These were the main things that you're going to want to take from it. And then you'll see there's a class notes example of what Cornell Notes would look like in a classroom setting. And again, just to give you a visual of what that might look like, what the notes would look like in the recorded section, what type of questions would come from those notes, and then a brief summary. And the last thing that I'm going to have you do is you're going to watch the school article on Finland and their education system. And what I want you to do is, as you're watching that video, I want you to take notes on that video, and then I want you to come up with 3 core questions, 3 things that you would anticipate that, if we'll just say, for example, if I were going to give you a short quiz based on that video, what might be 3 questions that you might anticipate me asking, or 3 themes that you found came from the article. But so you're going to do that, and that's going to be it. You're going to submit that to me via email. So that's really the only assignment per se, is the finished school article, but you're going to need to go through all these other steps to help get you to that point. And again, this is a critical piece of the course. We'll talk about test taking and a few other things after we get through this part, but this is really time management and note taking, and how that process works are really what I want you to get from this course. So we'll work through this. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. I've been getting your assignments, everything's going well, but this really is the meat of this course, if you will, is we want to emphasize the importance of taking notes, coming up with a system that you feel comfortable with, not just taking notes, but being able to refer back to those notes as a study aid, again, to help you as you go through the class from test to test, and ultimately culminating with the final exam, if you will. But this is the key component to our course. We'll do some test taking and probably some personality styles, and just kind of wrap up the course after this section. But this is really the meat of the class, so I want you to really focus in on the note-taking aspect and getting comfortable in what it means to take good notes and how to utilize those effectively. So again, I'll check in with you guys. It probably won't be until probably Tuesday is what I'm anticipating, just to give you a rundown of what the rest of this final week would look like. You'll still have through the rest of the week to complete week 3 and 4, but I'll touch base with you before the 3rd. I'm going to be out of town on the 3rd, 4th, and 5th of next week, and so I just want to check in one time before I'm basically unavailable for a few days, and then I'll check back in over the weekend, and we will finish up with a few simple assignments, and then we will close up class and talk about fall registration and making sure everybody understands about degree plans, and making sure you're on the right path. So I will talk to you later. Everybody have a good day.